Hello. Well, we're getting ready to get into that season of celebrating holidays. It is right now mid-September 2022, and we're getting ready to get into that season of when we go into a bunch of holidays and the holiday season, as they say. And if you have a narcissist in your life, whether that's an intimate partner, family member, friend, you know that typically they can ruin a holiday like nobody's business. They have a lot of destructive behaviors and a lot of emotional abuse to pass around. And when you go through a holiday with them, it's just complicated and painful. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a 3-step process that I developed long ago to get through the holidays with my ex-narcissist. And if you implement this process, I believe that you will enjoy this holiday season more so than you did the last season or even the seasons before. This 3-step process is simple, it's easy to implement, and you can enjoy your holiday season if you implement this process. This process also, it's kind of like multifaceted. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. But in that process, there's also a lot of tips that I'm going to share with you that I think that you will find very beneficial. And please do stay to the end, because I'm going to share a personal story about a holiday season or a holiday that I went through with a narcissist. Went through a lot of them, a lot of holidays with this person, but I'm going to tell you about one specific one. And I'm going to tell you about the aha moment I had a couple of weeks after this holiday that was really not just a game changer in terms of how to deal with a narcissist at the holidays, but also dealing with a narcissist in general. So do stay to the end till you can get that little nugget. I think it'll be very beneficial for you. If we are just meeting for the first time, I'm Tamara, and I'm your courtroom companion. And I like to say that here at Courtroom Companions, we come alongside you virtually to help you get through family court, custody, and narcissism, and also to help you build your life back better and better after those circumstances. And so this is a community of people that have been through the same thing, and so we support one another. So I think you'll find this channel very beneficial. So do hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't heard, I have just recently launched the membership community here at the YouTube channel. And if you hit that join button below, you'll be able to find a description of the 3 levels of membership. And it's very inexpensive, but you'll get a lot for your money. And I do hope you'll consider joining. So do hit that join button to learn more about that. The membership community is not just, tools and things like that you'll receive, or extra content, specific content for my membership community, but you'll also find that there's a community of people that's going to be more interactive and work more closely together than, say, here in the comments. The comments are very helpful and the community is very supportive, but in this membership community, it'll be a little bit closer. You'll have more access to me. So I do hope that you will consider joining. So let's just dive right into this content. So step 1 is to be intentional. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So you'll see behind me, I have some pillows here decorated, just with the holiday season. It's fall here on the East Coast, and it's actually my favorite time of year. And so it looks like fall, and that season has exploded all over my house. Every part of my house is decorated with it. Even, my foyer, my kitchen, everything is decorated. And so I'm very intentional about, at least the ambiance or the flavor of my house is always decorated in that season. And I'm very intentional about that, because when you've been with a narcissist, holidays don't always feel very festive. And a lot of times I didn't decorate because I just knew it wasn't going to feel like that season or that holiday. So I didn't even bother. But I do think that even if you have a narcissist in your life, it's really important to be intentional about what you have around your house. And it doesn't matter which holidays you celebrate or which season that you're in. If you're intentional about putting out the decor that represents that holiday or season, I think you'll find that it's beneficial. So that's like part 1 of being intentional, is to decorate your house for that season or that holiday. I realize that there are a lot of us in the community, or a lot of those here in the community, that putting decor out can be a nightmare when you're dealing with a narcissist. They may not allow you the finances. Maybe they're being, financially abusive and they don't allow you to have the finances to decorate. Perhaps they will criticize what you put out, or perhaps they won't let you even celebrate the holiday at all because it's not the holiday that they celebrate. But if at all possible, I would encourage you to decorate. And if finances are an issue, I know the dollar store has a lot of great holiday decor that you can use. And I know Goodwill is another place, or friends who have extra, decorations can help you, collect a stash that you can use in your home. And I'm going to give you some tips later on in this process about what to do if the narcissist is criticizing what you're doing. So stay tuned for that. But, I just do encourage you to put decorations out if you at all can. Another way that I want you to try to be intentional is to understand the reality of your situation. And I don't mean that in a condescending way at all. If you've been on my channel at all, you know that I'm like a very supportive person. But sometimes if you're in a relationship, you might, think that, oh, it's not as bad as it seems, or, people are just saying the things that they're saying about your partner or your family member because they don't like them or something. But I want to encourage you this holiday season, as part of this process of being intentional, is to really kind of grasp where you are in your relationship and really be truthful with yourself. You don't have to share with anybody else, but just be truthful with yourself about the reality of the situation. You can't change the narcissist, but you can definitely change your reaction to the narcissist or your response to the narcissist if you are, willing to accept, kind of where you are with it. You can't just play it by ear if you're with a narcissist. If you are with someone who makes your holidays miserable every year, then you have to accept that that's the reality. And therefore, you can't just play it by ear. So be intentional about not just saying, I'm going to hope for the best this year. I'm going to hope it changes this year. Don't say those things to yourself, because then you're not accepting the reality of the situation. So if you're intentional about that and accepting where you are, so part 2 of this process is to create a strategy for dealing with the narcissist's behavior in the holiday season. And this strategy actually has 3 parts. So we'll say part 3A. Part 3A is to think about and jot down all of the behaviors and verbiage that the narcissist typically says and does during the holiday season. Think back to all the holidays, whether this is a family member or sibling, friend, family, whoever it is. Think about prior holiday seasons and then start jotting down everything that you can remember about the typical behaviors and the typical emotional abuse that this person dishes out every holiday season. And I want you to be specific. So if the narcissist in your life gives you the silent treatment, don't just say he gives the silent treatment or she gives the silent treatment. Say, I typically get the silent treatment when it's time to cook a meal for my family. I usually get that silent treatment from this day to this day. Or if your narcissist is criticizing you about the decor, say, for example, that we talked about earlier, you can say the person's name. Susie typically, or Jack typically criticizes from the moment I start pulling out my decorations until I'm very proud of the outcome of everything I've done to decorate the house and make it feel homey and cozy. He typically criticizes where I put things, or typically criticizes that I don't know what I'm doing, or typically says that his mother does it better. For example, write down everything specific that person typically does during the holiday season. Or let's say the narcissist, creates a fight every time you're on your way to your family's house. If this is an intimate partner who's the narcissist, write down what those fights are generally about. Or maybe there's not a typical thing you fight about on the way, but there's always a fight. I want you to write down all of the behaviors and all the words that they typically use to create the drama so that you don't enjoy the holidays. Maybe they criticize you for what you're cooking. Maybe they tell you you can't cook as well as so-and-so in the family. Or maybe they criticize what you wear. Maybe there are certain customs that you do in your family of things that you like to wear, and it's not part of what he grew up with or she grew up with, but you find that they criticize you every year about it. Or maybe you have a narcissist in your life that, will be passive aggressive. Maybe they're sarcastic during a meal, or maybe they are, passive aggressive in that they, won't participate in the holiday season, but will sit upstairs and sulk, something like that. So just whatever you can remember about what they do during the holiday season, I want you to write it down and be as specific and be as lengthy as you want. The next part, I guess it's part B, what I want you to do is to really fully try to understand why narcissists behave this way, right? So I want you to gain a lot of knowledge during this process. And you may have already started to do that as, maybe you started Googling their behaviors or whatever, and maybe that's how you came across this channel. So there's a lot of videos I have about how to deal with narcissistic behavior, and a lot of videos on why they behave the way that they do. And this is the time when you should be trying to learn about each of their behaviors. For example, narcissists lie all the time. So you might start trying to figure out, why do they lie all the time? Or why do they project their own behaviors on to you? Maybe they drink all the time, but they say you're an alcoholic, things like that. That's gaslighting. So what I want you to do is to really learn as much as you can about why they do this. And some of the reasons that you'll come across is that narcissists behave this way for many reasons. One, they are very insecure people. And so they are always seeking validation externally. So by fighting with you and then you reacting, they get to tell you how crazy you are. So then that makes them feel better, right? Or they are people who need constant validation. So if you're going to your family's house, he knows or she knows it's not going to be about them. It's going to be about, the interactions among your family, and not that he or she can't be included because that's what you desire. It's that he or she's not the center of attention, right? And so that's another reason why they are acting the way that they do. If they are gaslighting you, it's because they're trying to feel better about themselves. So this part B is like understanding why they do what they do. And what you find is that they are like childish 5-year-olds in adult bodies, right? And so they don't have the same maturity level that we as adults do to deal with our emotions. If something is bothering you or I, we might talk to our partner about that, or we would feel safe to, just explain what our vulnerabilities are, what our insecurities are. But a narcissist can't do that, because another reason they act this way is because they have this image they're trying to uphold. And so if you are trying to hold them accountable for something, that means they're not perfect. And so that they'll react to that. And so some of the ways they react is by putting you down or criticizing you. And so this stage, or this part, is about learning about why the narcissist behaves this way. And you'll get a lot of power from this, because you'll understand why they're doing what they're doing. So again, there's countless reasons why they behave this way, but this is the time to level up your knowledge seeking and really try to fully understand why they behave the way that they do. We're moving on to the next part. So this next step is to decide in advance what you want your responses to be. And what I mean by that is, I want you to decide what you're going to say and do in advance when the narcissist does their typical behavior. And so if your narcissist typically gives you the silent treatment, whenever that starts this season, you're already going to have a response prepared in your head, or a behavior that you're going to display when the narcissist gives you the silent treatment. So let's pretend the narcissist is giving you the silent treatment. You're going to jot down, I see that the narcissist is starting the silent treatment, so I am going to phone my friend and I'm going to talk about what she's doing during this holiday season. If that person's not available, I'm going to call the next person on my list and talk about the holiday season. So you're already going to know when the silent treatment starts, you're going to phone a friend and talk about the holidays and what you both are enjoying about the holidays. Let's say the narcissist typically criticizes what you wear when you're getting ready to go over your family's house. And let's say your narcissist says that, you look ugly in that dress, or you look terrible in that outfit. your response that you're going to prepare in advance and write down, and what you're going to say to that narcissist when he says it is, "This dress looks fabulous on me and I feel wonderful." And let's say the narcissist continues to tell you look terrible. Your next response that you're going to have prepared, written down, and you're going to use to that person is, you're going to say, "Wow, it's really a shame that you cannot see the beauty in my dress and how fabulous I look. I look amazing." And you're just going to keep going down that road of like preparing your answers in advance. Let's say your narcissist, the typical behavior is to start a fight on the way to your family's house. Your response that you're going to have written down and use during the fight or when he's trying to fight is, "I don't intend to discuss that now." And let's say the narcissist continues to fight. Well, you can't have a fight with just one person. So what I would encourage you to do is when you get in the car, put your little AirPods on so he doesn't even know that you're doing it. And when he continues to try to fight and you're not engaging, you can just turn on your favorite music because you've prepared in advance. You're not going to let his typical behaviors get to you on your way to your family's house. And let's say that he ramps it up even more. You get to the family's house and he starts to yell. You can turn around and say, "If you intend to continue to yell, you're not going to be invited in the home." And if he says, "Well, I'll just leave you here." Okay. There's always an Uber. There's always someone that's willing to take you home. So I'm not trying to oversimplify this. I'm just trying to give you examples of what I mean by preparing in advance for the behaviors that you know this narcissist is going to display during the holiday season. And you're going to feel empowered to go through this holiday season knowing you've already got this person managed and kind of organized in your head how you're going to deal with them, and they have no idea. You can put all this on your phone. You can put it on a computer at work, whatever you need to do, practice it, really understand what your strategy and your action plan is going forward for this holiday season so that you can enjoy the holiday season. So I hope these examples just give you kind of a sense of like what you need to do. So like being intentional about your decorating, being intentional about knowing who the narcissist is and really fully embracing that, gathering that knowledge to understand why they act the way they do, and then putting together your plan for how you're going to respond to each and every one of the narcissist's typical behaviors going through the holiday season. So if you're a part of this community and you have other examples and other strategies that have worked for you, please do leave it in the comments below. We're a community of people that kind of support each other during this process, and any tips, we're very grateful to have in the comments. So do leave one below. So I told you I would tell you about a personal story of my own of when I went to a holiday, and this one happened to be Thanksgiving. So it's about this time when things start ramping up for the plans. And so my ex-partner was a narcissist, and he was never formally diagnosed, but he displayed all the behaviors and all the strategies that I use work. So in my mind, he's a narcissist. So this particular Thanksgiving, we were going to host his family on Thanksgiving itself, and we were going to host my family on the Saturday following. And his family is really large. Like, I don't know, there must be 40 or 50 people, and lots of siblings, lots of cousins, lots of people. My family is rather small. It's like 10 or 11 people at that time. And I had thought, well, we'll use our good china. But we didn't have enough place settings for his family, so I hadn't really thought that through yet, how that would work. And we had another set of really good, dishes that I thought we would use so that we'd have enough for everybody, or maybe we would eat in shifts. Maybe the kids would eat first or something. I hadn't really figured all that out yet, but his sister-in-law called and said, "Hey, why don't we just use those heavy-duty paper plates and really good plasticware for the family? No sense in doing all those dishes." And I thought, oh, works for me. And so that was like part of this story. The other part is that I started to share with him early on in our relationship that I really love to watch the Macy's Day Parade, but I never get to because we're always it seems like it was always chaotic on Thanksgiving Day. So I decided that I was going to ensure that I watched the Macy's Day Parade this particular Thanksgiving morning. And so what I decided to do was to pre-plan. So I said to him, this year I intend to watch the Macy's Day Parade. Come hell or high water, I was going to watch it. So I said, why don't we figure out which chores you're going to do to get ready for the people coming over. And then we'll split up the chores and we'll figure out which food you're going to, because he was a really good cook. And, you know, I enjoyed a little bit of cooking as well for Thanksgiving. So I wanted to figure out who was going to be cooking what so that I could get all my stuff done as much as possible in advance. And so I had this whole plan, and I'd gotten all my chores done early by, you know, maybe 2 days before. I'd done all my chores. So all I would have had to do was do just a last minute pickup before people came. We had decided which food I was going to be cooking. And so I had prepared as much as I could beforehand so that I could watch the Macy's Day Parade. And his was to get the turkey ready, you know, that morning. And so when I heard him downstairs doing that, I decided to get up early anyway. Even though all my stuff was done, I decided to get up anyway and help him with his stuff. So, you know, I got up at like 6:30 or whatever, whenever I heard him. And I went down and helped him with his things. Well, when the Macy's Day Parade started, I had my cup of coffee with my pumpkin creamer. I had the fireplace on, and I was sitting there as comfortable as I could watching the Macy's Day Parade. And wouldn't you know it, this guy comes by with a vacuum, vacuuming the living room where I was at to, you know, basically interrupt the fact that I was watching the Macy's Day Parade. Well, I wasn't having it. I went upstairs and I was watching the parade anyway. And so I did watch the Macy's Day Parade as I intended, but that wasn't the end of the story. After that, I guess before people came, he saw that I had bought those heavy duty, you know, paper plates, as was discussed with the sister-in-law. He said, so wait, we're using china for your family and we're using these paper plates for my family? Oh, okay, so you think your family's better than my family. And I was just thinking, well, here we go. He's trying to start a fight. I'm not having it. I did not engage. And I said, well, if you don't like the plates that are sitting here, then you can talk to, you know, told him which sister-in-law it was. And I said, and you can do the dishes afterwards. And so he was so angry, and he put those plates away, those paper plates away, and he pulled out every dish that we owned. And he said, we are not using paper plates. And fine by me. I wasn't going to do those dishes. So he pulled out all the, and he, you know, so the folks used the real plates, and the sister-in-law was very confused because she thought we had a plan, and she was like, I don't want to do all those dishes. And I said, well, I don't either, and I'm not gonna, you know. And so I wasn't thinking too much about it because I knew there was no stopping him. He was going to use those real plates. So afterwards, one of the things that he always did was he would go to Black Friday, which I always find strange because it doesn't start on Friday. It starts on Thursday after Thanksgiving. And we were going to go to Black Friday. And so we were all getting in the car, and he wasn't speaking to me most of this day. Like, he was really angry at me most of the day. Silent treatment, being bitter, just really being, you know, his tone was terrible whenever he did talk to me. So didn't matter. We were going to go to Black Friday. I was going to try to enjoy the moment anyway. And what I realized on the way when he was driving, I looked at Facebook, and he had written something on Facebook about everything that he had done that day. All the chores he had to do and all the cooking he had to do. And it was a very solo kind of message. It was like he was telling the world he had to do it all. So I said, okay. So I responded on my way. Like, he was sitting in the driver's seat and I was over there typing my response. I'm like, and I said something to the effect of, wow, you would have thought that you pulled this whole thing off miraculously by yourself. Good thing I did all my chores, and I named them all. And good thing I did all my cooking, and I named all of what I cooked. And I put a good thing I did all my stuff ahead of time. Man, what a partnership we have, you know. And I wrote all of that, and I didn't bash him. I was trying to be, you know, really funny but clever. And when we parked, I guess he got the notification about that Facebook message that I posted. He was so angry, but inside I was kind of laughing because I knew that what he was trying to do, he was not going to be able to achieve. He wasn't going to be able to say he did it all. And he just looked at me and said, don't ever put that trash on my Facebook again. I said, well, don't write lies and I won't have to. And that's all I said. So anyway, that was the end. And, you know, I don't know how long it was where we started talking again, but it was a couple of weeks later, and this is the aha moment I told you I was going to tell you, that I feel like didn't just help me understand about the holidays, but also how to deal with a narcissist in general, was that I realized that with my pre-planning of figuring out which chores I had to do or which pieces of the meal I was going to cook, that pre-planning helped me to kind of, in a way, think through what I wanted the holidays to feel like, what I needed, you know? And it was like I unintentionally, in a way, but as it turned out, I realized how much power really think through my responses, through my needs. I was able to carve out the joy that I wanted to have in that moment and in that holiday and in that holiday season, just by all this pre-planning. This allowed me to not engage with the narcissist. I didn't need to be emotional with the narcissist. I didn't need to meet him at his emotional level when he got angry or when he wanted to do the silent treatment. I did not have to engage. And what this meant for the future, for not just holidays, but if we were going to do anything, I would use this same process. If we were going to go to church or something, I thought, one of the things was he was always late for church. And I decided, well, did I want to be late for church anymore? No, I didn't. So if that meant I drove separately, I was fine with that, because my needs are important too. And when you're in a relationship with a narcissist of any sort, your needs don't matter. So just by doing that holiday that I just described to you and doing all that pre-planning, it really spilled over into every area of my life with the narcissist, because I began to realize that my life was not, or the joy that I felt in my life was not going to be just in the hands of the narcissist. Sorry for that alarm. Didn't mean for that to go off. So I apologize for that. So I hope that you find this helpful. I hope that you will begin to realize that your life and how joyful it is, how happy it is, can be within your own self. You can carve out what you need and make space for your needs too. And by doing this, it becomes like second nature. I had so many responses that I already thought through because of all these different scenarios, because I started doing it a lot. I started to write them down. I started to plan out my responses, plan out my behaviors, and pretty soon I didn't need to write them down anymore. I had a whole storage bank of typical ways I would handle him, and it just got easier and easier. So that was the aha moment that came out of that holiday season. So anyway, I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, leave us some comments below. Let us know how it works for you. And again, if you have any other strategies, please do list them below. And if you are in need of one-on-one coaching, I do offer that. So click the link below in the description for a free 15-minute discovery call to see if coaching's right for you. And also do hit that join button to join our membership community so you can get exclusive content from me. So have a good holiday season. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.